There are only two types of goals, and you need both to succeed. One of the things I struggle with the most in the productivity world is goal setting. I always go too big or too small or set too many plans or not enough plans, and it just ends up being a mess. And of course, when goals are messy, the follow through is not great. But what I've come to realize is that this lack of follow through is actually a result of a lack of clarity around the types of goals we are setting and what they will require from us to succeed. So today I want to help us all get rid of the vague goal setting that we have been doing and start giving us the tools to discern between what I see as the two types of goals: habit-based goals and project-based goals. If you want to know how to use them both and how to use them together, keep on watching. Okay, so we're going to be talking about habit versus project goals. And I've talked a little bit about project goals before on this channel. I mean, I've talked a lot about goals on this channel, but I basically wanted to define these two types of goals because I think a lot of the times, like I said in the intro, people get confused on whether they are making a habit-based goal or they are making a project-based goal. Habits and projects can be very different, right? So if you set a goal that's like, oh, I want to be healthy, how do you get there? Usually some combination of habits and projects. So let's start with habit-based goals. Habit goals are very easy to understand. This is your workout once a week, wake up at 6 every day, things that have an individual action. So these are really defined by the individual action that you're taking. These actions can and will happen reliably over a period of time. And the key word there is reliably. This might mean your habit starts on a particular day or every week, right? These are timelines related to a habit. So if you picture like a habit tracker, have your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then little bullet points underneath that then you can fill out. You can say like, okay, maybe I was trying to wake up at 6 a.m. every day this week, and I did that on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But I did not do that on Tuesday and Sunday. So I'm going to cross those off like this and like this. Habits need to be tracked and need to be looked at on this kind of basis because habits are also fundamental to acquiring data. So you need to have them appear reliably over time, which is really a function to say that they are routine based. And you want to use a habit-based goal if you are trying to acquire data. So if you're trying to start a routine or if you're trying to learn something about yourself, habit-based goals are really, really good for that. And the routine is what this is, right? The routine is I'm trying to do something every day. I'm trying to do something every week. And then once you complete the routine, you have enough data to do a sort of analysis and say, this habit was a success, this habit worked for me, this habit didn't work for me. I feel like this data analysis thing is what's often missing from people's understanding of habits. People often say, I'm going to start being the type of person who goes to the gym twice a week. But if you don't really track that and analyze if that works for you, you can't improve upon your habits or build upon them. So I really encourage, if you're trying to set a habit-based goal, you're thinking about, maybe a habit is right for me to think about, doing XYZ in my life. I want to encourage you to set a deadline for habits. So I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. every day for the next 3 weeks. That way you have a built-in stopping point from which you can do your analysis. So if you wake up every day at 6 p.m. for 6 weeks, you can look back on your data that you've collected and you can say, okay, on Sundays, I was historically bad at waking up at 6 a.m. Maybe there's something to do with Sundays or weekend days where I don't really feel like getting out of bed at 6 a.m. is necessary or something. And then you can adjust the habit to be, well, I wake up at 6 a.m. every day during the week, and then I wake up whatever time I want on the weekends. So having a deadline allows you to have a period of analysis where you look back on your habit and see if it worked or didn't. This is a way better use of habits than thinking that your good habit has to last forever. What you really want to be doing is always evaluating and making sure that your habit is still supporting the way your life goes and your overall life vision, right? And there is so much habit science out there. Definitely pick up like Atomic Habits or something if you are trying to create better habits and be more reliable. But if you are struggling, my best tip is to make the habit smaller. So instead of saying my habit is, I'm going to work out, because working out conjures, I'm going to get sweaty, I'm going to get gross, I'm going to have to shower, it's going to be like a multi-hour affair, I'm so tired, I don't think I can do that. Instead of building in all that mental weight by the phrase, I'm going to work out, what I say instead is I am going to go to the gym. I'm going to step
inside the gym. That habit does not feel hard because I can just put on my shoes and go to the gym and step inside the gym. Now, I know that if I put on my shoes, my workout outfit, and I go to the gym and I step inside the gym, as soon as I step inside the gym, I will say, okay, well, I'm here anyways. I'm not just gonna like waste all that effort and then leave. But it also gives me permission to avoid all the things that feel really difficult about the habit of working out, which is like if I get there and I'm like, oh, I still feel so sick at the idea of just like being all sweaty and getting my body moving and like, oh, it's gonna hurt, it's gonna be painful. If I still feel all those things by the time I get there, I can still leave and I've still accomplished the habit. So the trick is finding that sweet spot between, like, some people will say like, oh, if they want to go to the gym, their trigger habit, quote unquote trigger habit, is putting on their running shoes. As soon as they put on their running shoes, they're gonna go out, they're gonna go for a run, they're gonna go to the gym, whatever. For me, it is getting into the gym. That is my sweet spot between like the thing that I am afraid of doing and the thing that feels super easy to do, which is to like walk to the gym. I also live within walking distance of my gym. So that is the thing I recommend if you are feeling stuck with habits, is to give them deadlines and then also to find the trigger and just do the trigger habit instead. And you can still log the trigger habit. That's fine too.
I'm trying to work on my health this year, and I know many of you are too, and a great tool to help with that is today's sponsor, Copilot Fitness. Copilot pairs you with a dedicated fitness trainer who will create a customized workout program just for you. When Copilot reached out to me, I was actually so psyched because I have been using their platform for years. My trainer, Chris, shout out to Chris, creates unique workout plans for me each week based on my needs. We have a periodic video call to check in, and she continually gives me advice and encouragement over text. The convenience of having an expert right in my pocket is so amazing if I have a question or if I need help with an exercise. The app is also super slick and guides you through your custom workout step by step.
Okay, I just finished my warm up. Now I'm about to get into my actual exercises. So the app lays out each exercise for you in a row like this. And then when you are doing them, you can click into them and it'll automatically show you this little demonstration of how the exercise is supposed to be done, along with the reps and weight requirement that your trainer has set for you, and her special tips on the exercise, which is super helpful.
No matter what your schedule is, what your training priorities are, and what your equipment looks like, all you need is your phone to get through an awesome workout curated just for you. Since I started using Copilot Fitness, I actually go to the gym. I found it so hard to self-start where fitness was concerned before Copilot Fitness, but now having everything laid out for me step by step has made it feel easy and fun instead of like a huge mental effort. With Copilot Fitness, you'll learn to focus on what you can do today to build long-term habits to be stronger, healthier, and more confident. It's about consistently taking small steps that lead to big results. Click the link in my description or go to go.mycopilot.com/Rachel to get a 14-day free trial with your personal trainer. Thanks to Copilot Fitness for partnering on today's video. Let's get back to talking about goals.
Now, meanwhile, over here on the project side, project-based goals are really defined by their restrictions, and they are defined by having a tangible outcome. So projects are often restricted, they have a tangible outcome, and they also have things like in the sort of restriction area, they have things like deadlines, milestones, budgets. Budgets is a huge one that I think people forget about when they're goal setting. Like, your goal kind of needs to have a budget. You need to be thinking about how much time and money you're going to be spending on your goal. So I think a project framework is my favorite framework for thinking about a goal because it hits all of these points. It hits all of the things that you need to have, that you should be thinking about for how to integrate your goal into your everyday life. It's like, well, what is my project plan for this goal? What are my restrictions? What are my deadlines? What is available to me as a resource, right? What are my resources? Any goal you have is going to take up some of your resources. So it's super important to be thinking about that. But also, goals have this tangible outcome. Project-based goals have this tangible outcome, right? You're going to end the project with a thing. So you're going to end the project with maybe your project-based goal is like write a novel. So you're going to end it with a novel. That's something you can hold in your hand. That's a physical thing. More intangible things that are also projects might be like, oh, I'm going to end with, if I'm studying, what do I like to study? If I'm studying, say, I'm studying astrology, right? I'm going to end with the knowledge of how to read a birth chart. So these are sort of like, this is an intangible thing. This is like not really something that you can like have and hold. Of course, you could draw a birth chart, I guess, but like you will have a tangible outcome. You will have something that you can point to say, okay, during that project, I worked on my novel and now I have my novel in my hand. During that project, I worked on learning this whole system and now I have that knowledge and I can work with that knowledge in my life. So a project has a tangible outcome and it has restrictions, specifically those that talk about resources and deadlines. So projects do involve all of these things, but projects can be really, really, really small, which is also why I really like and prefer project-based goals to most habit-based goals. Although, like I said earlier, you do need both. But projects can be like 2 items or they can be a million items. David Allen really helped define what a project is for me. And he says that a project is anything with 2 or more steps. So projects can be quite small. I know in David Allen's system, getting things done, a project being 2 or more steps is one of the things that he uses to sort of create clarity in his system. So if you're looking at a task on your to-do list and it feels hard, you're like, I don't know where to start with that. It's probably because you need to break it out into a project. So for example, like I need to write my final paper for my my class is a project, right? Looking at that task, you're like, oh, it's really hard. I don't know where to start. But once you give it a few to-do list items, a few sets of things that you need to do to accomplish that, then it becomes a lot easier and you can see how that sort of blooms into a project. And then from there, you can say like, okay, at the end of this, I'm gonna have my tangible outcome, which is my essay. What is the deadline? Well, it's due next week. What are my milestones? That's a first draft, a second draft, a final draft. What are my resources? Well, it's gonna take me 10 hours or something, right? And I'm going to need to like read 10 papers or something to have sources. So there's sort of ways that like once you realize that a task actually has 2 or more steps, you also realize that it is a project and it has all of these things by virtue of being a project. So if you haven't guessed already, projects will have a to-do list associated with them. Many of these to-do list items may be on their own schedules. Some of them will have sub-bullets and sub-items, but these are not things that you need to do on a regular basis. So a project is not a routine. A project is something individual. You're often taking these individual actions once, and then you can move on to the other actions on your list. Many times these to-do list items will be their own milestones. So for example, if you're writing that novel, a to-do list item is create characters, right? And I need to have my characters created within the first month of me writing my novel. I need to have the characters created because it's going to take me 12 months to write this novel. That's my deadline, end of the year. So within the first month, I want to have this milestone completed, right? So you want to be thinking along those lines. You want to be thinking along those that deadline, that timeline sort of picture in your head. I find if you're having difficulty with projects, the biggest, best thing you can do is get clarity by breaking it down. I always listen to my gut feeling if I am looking at a task or looking at something that I want to do, and I think, oh, that sounds really hard. What I am told by that gut feeling is that I need to break it down further until it feels easy. This is a basic productivity hack that like lots of people tell you is if something looks hard, we'll break it down into its composite steps. That to-do list item might actually have 2 or more steps underneath it that you need to complete it, right? So a project planning session is really a session where you break down everything you need to do to complete something, and it becomes just a series of like basic, easy steps in a sequence. So I hope you can see the difference between these two habit and project-based goals, but I also want to talk about combining them. Now, the first step in goal setting is nailing down what your goal actually is. So let's say, what is our goal? Let's use a couple of the examples I was using before, right? So one might be, I want to go to the gym twice a week to be healthy, and the other might be, I want to write a novel because it's always been my dream to write a novel, right? You want to think about what you want to do and how you want to do it. So I really recommend linking this up with your values. You'll notice I said I want to go to the gym because I want to be healthy, and I want to write a novel because it's always been a creative dream of mine. So those are sort of indicating at like how your goal necessarily has to link up with values and what you want for your life. I have a whole separate video on that. I will leave it linked up in the cards. I actually have lots of videos on values, so if you want to go check back on my channel, I talk a lot about values a lot. But basically you need to decide what you want the outcome to be. So this one loosely describes a habit-based goal, and this one loosely describes a project-based goal. Did I do those wrong? I did. Oh my God. I used blue for habits and green for projects. Okay, please disregard. Having so many colors of Sharpies is a new thing for me, and I'm still getting used to it. So you're supporting your goals of going to the gym, writing a novel. This one is a habit, this one is a project. Obviously, when you're writing a novel, the project planning has a deadline of, let's say, 12 months. It has a task list, create characters, outline plot, chapter 1, first draft, so on and so forth, right? It has a task list, it has a deadline. And then at the end of it, your final product will be a novel. Habit-based goal, go to the gym. You need a routine associated with this. So going to the gym is your action. Your routine is 2 times a week. And then let's give you a deadline. So the deadline might be for 3 months, right? Because this is after which we will analyze our data. Now, I want to say that although this is a project-based goal and this is a habit-based goal, you will often find that to support your habit, you need a project, and to support your project, you need a habit. So for example, the habit that can support this project is to write for 2 hours each day. Or you can write 1,000 words, whatever. This habit supports this project because although the project has its own set of steps and you'll need to make time to work on those steps, ultimately the bulk of it is going to happen in your writing. So you need a strong writing habit and a writing routine, back to this routine thing, in order to get this project done. Okay, my camera died and I was in the middle of writing a bunch of stuff, so there's a bunch of stuff written on this piece of paper, but we're gonna go through it. Writing for 2 hours each day is definitely a habit that supports a novel, but a more general, universal habit that supports any type of project is to work on that project for 2 hours each day. So I really like these time-based habits. Do this for 2 hours each day, do that for 2 hours each day, as a way to support projects, because oftentimes projects have these long task lists, and while working on a novel or working on something has a specific part of that task list, the writing part, that is a singular repeated action that lends itself very well to a habit. Sometimes your projects just don't have that kind of neat thing, neat kind of singular action that you need to do to complete a project. Sometimes they're comprised of task list items that look more like outline plot or create characters, right? So instead of this, when it's those kinds of situations, or it's build this part of the machine, then that part of the machine, or whatever, I recommend, work on XYZ project for X amount of time each day or each week or whatever your timeline for your routine is. So that way you still have some kind of habit that enforces your need to check in with the project regularly, but it's not necessarily, do a specific action, because those actions with projects will probably change quite a lot through the course of the project. And of course, you can build different habits into the project. You can have both of these if you want, which I think might be a good way to write a novel. But yeah, so that's how habits really can support your projects. Now, how projects can support your habits is like this. So if you're going to go to the gym 2 times a week for 3 months, you're probably going to need workout clothes and gear, right? So a project associated with this habit might be buy workout clothes and gear. And this project, just by reading it, you can tell it has a budget. You're going to need to set up a budget. You're going to have a task list. You're going to need to go through the items in your wardrobe and see what you're missing. You're going to need to evaluate what kind of exercises you will be doing and therefore what kind of workout clothes you need, right? So having this be a project, build a workout wardrobe, will support you going to the gym, will enable you to do this habit because you need to have something to wear before you go to the gym. I'm not saying this because I think genuinely you need to get a whole new wardrobe every time you want to go to the gym. Obviously use what you have. So there might be a scenario in which you already have your workout clothes and you don't care about buying anything new, or you don't want to let buying anything new hold you up from actually starting your habit. In that case, a project associated with going to the gym might be finding a gym. So you might give yourself a 1-week deadline to find a gym so that you can get right on top of going to the gym as your main habit. But under this, of course, 1 week is the deadline. You might have a task list that looks like look up gyms in my area, go visit a few gyms, trial a few gyms. And then you might also have an associated budget, like I'm willing to spend $40 on a monthly membership. I'm not willing to spend $100 on a monthly membership. maybe $50 on a monthly membership, things like that. So this might be a project associated with going to the gym that enables you to complete that habit. A thing I also want to mention that I find really important when you're building in projects to habits is this evaluation period. So we talked earlier about how the deadline for a habit enables you to look back on your actions and evaluate them and see if they were successful. Look back on your data and say, did I go to the gym every day, or did I go to the gym twice a week for the past 3 months? Yes, I did. Cool, great, awesome. What do I want to do next? Or you can say, no, I didn't. Here were the pain points. I really struggled when I wanted to go on Sundays, and I really was successful when I wanted to go on Tuesdays. I really struggled when I knew I had to do this exercise. I was successful when I had to do that exercise. So you're evaluating your data that you've gathered, and then from that evaluation, more projects might occur to you that continue to support your going to the gym. So if you really struggle, if you find that after the 3 months, you're looking back at your data and you're realizing that you really struggled with going to the gym when you were going to do a certain type of exercise, let's say deadlifts, and you really hate deadlifting, but you want to deadlift for some reason, I don't know. So you're really struggling when you knew you had deadlifts on your list to do at the gym, but it was easy every other time because you were not thinking about the deadlifts. Maybe a project is learn how to deadlift properly, because maybe you don't want to go because it hurts when you deadlift, you find your body really hurts, or you find that it's not really satisfying or something, but you still want to deadlift. So a project might be like, have a 1-hour session with a trainer devoted to learning how to deadlift or something to that effect. But you can sort of see how, like, at these evaluation points in your habits and your habit-based goals, there's an opportunity to say, okay, what needs to get done now so that I can continue doing this goal to the actual quality and level that I want to keep doing it? Or what about this goal isn't working for me? Maybe my habit doesn't need to be going to the gym. Maybe the habit just needs to be putting on my running shoes and going for a run. Maybe I don't like the gym. Maybe a new project is finding workout groups in my area instead of gyms in my area. So you can see how projects like support and enable you to complete habit-based goals when you have a habit-based goal.
The truth about goals is that you actually need a variety to support the larger vision of your life that you want. So mastering habits and projects is actually pretty crucial. If you want to know more about connecting your goals with your values so that you can make sure your projects and habits are actually supporting that dream life, check out this video right here on the screen that I have made about all of that good stuff. As always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being subscribed, for being awesome, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.